welcome to the Well-Educated Artist. This is the second video where we're going to be working with pour painting and pumpkins. If you missed our first video on how to pour paint a pumpkin, then please check it out. My daughter joined me and we had a great time pour painting pumpkins for the holidays. Now, today we're not going to be pour painting exactly. We are going to be using acrylic skins to cover pumpkins. And aren't these just the cutest little pumpkins? They're so adorable. And you can pick these up a lot of places. And we are going to be covering these little ones. You could do big ones too. You absolutely can. I'm just choosing to do small ones for the sake of time. It's the same idea either way. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need to do is to have some skins. So if you have a pour box, then you may have skins if you pour paint a lot. If not, you may need to make your skins. And what is a skin? Let me show you one that we will probably use on a pumpkin here. This one's really cool. If you haven't seen my video on how to make acrylic skins, then please check that out, and I will put a card on the video and a link down below so that you can check out that video. But I'm also going to quickly show you how to make a skin. What you will need is a tray of some sort, unless you've got a silicone mat and you can just leave it somewhere. I usually have to pick it up and have to move it. So we're going to need a tray, we're going to need a silicone mat, and then we're going to need some acrylic paints. And my acrylic paints I mix with Floetrol and water, and I just use the same ones that I would use to pour paint with. So if you want to make a Halloween-y one, I know we're already working with these really super cute orange pumpkins, but if you want to make a Halloween-y, if that's a word, we want to do something for Halloween. You could also do this for Thanksgiving. You can kind of dress up your pumpkins by adding color. And what I'm going to do is just put a base down. And here is just black acrylic paint. And I'm just going to put some down like this. You can pour it out, mix it in a cup and pour it is perfectly fine. I just had these pre-mixed and it's easier for me to do this, and we can add the paint as we go. And I just like this, I think this is Mars black here, and any shade of black is going to work. So we're going to do that. And then if you want to, you can use pre-mixed paints. This is a pre-mixed paint from Master's Touch, and it's orange, and I haven't even opened it, so you can use pre-mixed if you want, and you can use a fun one. This is really fun. This is from Folk Art. This is glow-in-the-dark orange, so you can also use glow-in-the-dark paints. They have it green, red, and you can see that. So we're going to add some of that, I think, to it. And you can use metallics. This is a metallic white. And this could go anywhere. I mean, if you wanted to actually put eyeballs, like you were making a ghost or a ghoul or a goblin, you absolutely can do that as well. And I'm just showing you what you can do if you want to do that. You could do this any way you want. Obviously, that's going to be too big for the pumpkin that we're doing, but we can do that. If you want to do a marble effect, that is really chic. You don't have to do it. It depends if you're doing this with the kids. That's one thing. If you're doing that just for yourself, you might want to marble. And all you would do for that is use a stick. This is a skewer. You could use a toothpick. You can use your finger if you like being messy. I'm just going to use that. And now our face turns in to a marble effect, which is really neat. And I may just leave it that simple, actually, because that is cool. Another thing that you can do is add a white glow-in-the-dark. I actually have a little bit of white glow-in-the-dark here if you'd like your little pumpkin to glow in the dark. As you can see, I'm about out. I used this on another one. I just mixed some Folk Art with Floetrol and water, and we can go back over that with a little bit of black if we're a little heavy-handed. And it's that simple to make a skin. I'm just adding more black in, and then I will go back in. I just wanted more black. It's up to you what you'd like to do. Now we can have that marble. We're going to stretch it a little bit and make sure that it is the size that we want. You will need a fairly large size. You can actually do more stretching if you take it off of the tray and can lay it somewhere. But that is how you make a skin. This probably needs to dry for 2 to 3 days, so this is not something where you can just, you know, do it in one day. Okay, you can pour paint it in one day and you can marbleize that. Like I said, see the other video, we did one that was marble with purple and gold and glow in the dark and black. With bigger pumpkins, you can absolutely do that. You could actually even dip your pumpkins. These are so tiny, kind of like strawberries when you dip strawberries. So a lot of different ways to do that. Okay, so I'm going to take that and put it aside. We will use that one later to do a pumpkin. Right now we are going to use our cute little pumpkin, and I'm going to come down so that you can see this cute little pumpkin. He is super cute. And we are going to take a skin that we have already made. This is just marbleized with blue and gold and yellow, several colors of blue, purple, and silver. So it doesn't matter what color combination, you can have a really cool pumpkin. You will need a pair of scissors, and what I'm actually going to use to attach it, provided that it's going to work, is diamond glaze. This diamond glaze water-based dimensional adhesive is really great for doing jewelry. If you haven't seen my how to make jewelry video with acrylic skins, please check that out. I'll put that also on a card and you can check that video out. Okay, so what we're going to do, and you will need a skin about this size, maybe wider would be better. There's several ways you can do it. There's a front and the back. We're going to be using the front of it. You can kind of see how this is going to play out. You can play with it and see how you want to do this. And we may have to do some cutting, because I would obviously like to keep the part that you can see, which is right here. I would like to pretty much have that as our focus versus the underneath part. So if I want this to be my top, that means it's going to be like this. I'm going to have to put a hole in it. I'm also going to check to see if I can get the most wrap that I can get, which is probably going to be right here. These are about the size of an apple, so we want to get the most wrap that we can out of this, and I think it's going to be about right there. And I'm actually going to cut where my stem is going to come through. Sometimes it's hard to talk and cut at the same time. So I'm going to cut where my stem is going to cut through. That way I can kind of mold it around the stem. And you can paint your stems. Okay, and I'm going to kind of see how this goes around. You can use super glue as well. So I'm going to do this part first. I've got a little hole. We're going to have to finagle that. That's okay. Sometimes your skins have little holes in them. You could also cut pieces. That would be really, really cool as well, and stick it around. Your acrylic skin will have give to it. That's the cool thing about it. The funny thing is, this reminds me, it really does remind me of caramel apple wraps. Growing up, we had these wraps made out of caramel, and you could wrap your apple up and then stick it into the microwave. And that's kind of what this reminds me of. Okay, you can see where the folds are going to happen, and lay it down. That's going to have to come up a little bit more. So that's kind of how I do it, is if there's a fold, and just straighten it up. Now we're going to have too much here, and what I would suggest doing is just cutting that off and keeping it, because you probably will need it in another spot. And because we're working with a marbleized look, you really don't see where I'm having to cut it. And this would be a really great place probably to fill in the piece that you have. So that way it covers the whole thing. So you just kind of have to finagle it, work around it to do it. It's like molding something. You just have to flatten it out as you go. It is very malleable because acrylic is essentially plastic. It is malleable. Okay, so here you have it. This is a wrapped pumpkin. It's wrapped all the way around. And if you don't want to get super messy, you can actually wrap your pumpkin, and they're really cool. You could do it in all kinds of designs. You can have bright ones. You can have any color that you want, any design that you want. I said you could even make faces and put that on, and it turns out cool. A big pumpkin, though, is going to take a lot of skins. If you're just wanting something for a tablescape, then this is probably an easy way to do it, and you don't have to wait for your pumpkins to dry. You know exactly what you're going to have up front. And honestly, you can do this with just about anything. You can wrap. The rounder it is, the harder it will be to wrap, and the harder it will be to paint. But there you have it.